Hello everyone, I am Dakota Cook, and we are Team 2106. Our sponsor is Mitsubishi Electric Research Lab, and Petrus Bofanos is their representative, and our project is on seamless security checkpoints. So our goal is to make security checkpoints more streamlined, as currently most use a millimeter wave scanner, which requires a person to stop and then get screened, which results in delays and longer wait times. As an example, the current wait times at some airports can be from 20 minutes to over an hour. And so we propose that we have them walk through a short 3 meter corridor where they would be screened using an array of camera radars and depth sensors. And in the final design, we would have four of these pairs along the pathway. In our approach, however, we chose to develop a radar simulation using only one of the radar depth sensor pairs, as shown in the upper left of the image, using Python, taking on inputs from MakeHuman and Blender, and outputting a reconstruction of the simulated data.
Hello, my name is Atharva Manjrekar and I'll be going over the optical simulation aspect of our project. In order to create both clothed and unclothed models, we used an open source software called MakeHuman. The MakeHuman models were then exported to another software called Blender, where they're simulated walking within a tracked scene with our radar camera. In the bottom left corner, we see a clothed model walking across our scene within Blender. Within MakeHuman, we can attach custom-made materials that will serve as a metal item on the body. Here, we see an item that depicts a weapon on the left hip of the model. In addition to this, we can also attach different forms of clothing and accessories as shown here. This model is then exported to Blender, where we can see the same metal item on the hip being tracked by our camera as the model walks through a 3 meter long corridor. This rendering provides us with depth and material files which complete the optical simulation aspect of our project. Here, we see clothed depth, unclothed depth, and material images for one of the frames as generated by our Blender simulation. Such files are then fed into our forward-operated script for the radar simulation, which will be explained by Frank.
Hi, I'm Frank. To simulate our radar, we used our own forward operator script that we wrote in Python. The script uses the bare depth and material files from Blender to calculate the amplitude and time delay of the signal reflected from the person's body relative to the transmitted signal. Next, using this radar data, the images to be viewed by a security guard are then generated in a separate script that implements back projection. This process uses the depth images from Blender and the correlation between the radar signals to determine the presence and location of a metal on a person's body. Implementing the ideal radar to obtain the desired resolution would be impractical as it would require too many elements. As a trade-off, a randomly subsampled array was implemented to reduce the number of elements while maintaining control of the density and placement of the receiver elements. This array can be optimized by manipulating the number of transmitting and receiving elements, the aperture dimensions, and spacing between the elements, as well as the amplitudes and frequencies used to shape the pulse sent by each transmitter. The figure on the top right shows two radar arrays. The right shows an undersampled array, while the one on the left shows a randomly subsampled array, which is closer to the ideal configuration. The undersampled array would lead to poor reconstructions similar to those of our early design, seen to the bottom right, while the new array leads to reconstructions such as the one to the left, where the metal can be clearly located on the person's thigh. Several other factors were also considered to improve the design. We had to account for the possibility of metals being hidden far beneath the clothing, so we reconstructed a layer around the positions given to us by the depth camera. Background removal was also implemented to both improve the computation speed and remove obvious artifacts of aliasing.
Hello, my name is Ajani and I will show you real-time dataset creation with our software. If we look on the left, we can see the software running, and if we look on the right, we can see a flow diagram showing the basic components. The inputs from Blender come in the form of a material layer image, a bare depth layer image corresponding to the skin, as well as a clothed depth layer. So, we can input all that data into the software. I wish to show a left leg reconstruction. So with the other things entered, I will enter the unclothed depth layer corresponding to the skin, choose a save location, and then process and save the frames, leaving those fields empty because the default parameters are all we need. So now let's take our attention to the right, in which we can see that the material layer and bare depth layer files are inputted into the radar simulation, and the radar simulation generates radar data. This radar data, in combination with the clothed depth layer data, goes through the image reconstruction process, in which first background removal takes place, then back projection, as well as the saving of the reconstructed frame for further viewing. As we can see on the left, it's almost done processing the frames. So once this is done, a report will be generated and we will be able to see the reconstructed output. So now let's navigate to the reconstructed output folder, in which we can see the saved frames. Furthermore, we can also see playback of those frames. So notice that on the person's left thigh, the metallic object is clearly visible. We hope that this software can be further enhanced in order to make airport travel much more convenient and much safer. Thanks, Team 2106.